You ready?
I am.
Cool. All right. Let me give this to John because for whatever reason he wants it. Is he online? Nah.
E-
I'll just text him and be like,
do it.
nope, my phone froze. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coding with Eric, where I attempt to teach Eric how to code. So we're gonna go into the whiteboard real quick.
All right.
And I'm gonna make a rectangle. Nice big rectangle.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that works. And then this is. Oh, let me change the color. There's no white. All right, cool. What the
Gotta be a white dude. Come on.
fuck? What the fuck? Oh my. As you can tell, I have not practiced this. All right,
There's
there
a
you go.
white.
We'll say this is a computer. So there's your computer in the middle of the screen. Let me zoom in for everybody. Oh, whoops! I just changed streams. Okay, so as you can see, this is your computer. Okay, so you've used computers, everything is computers. So obviously we're on a computer right now. Like everything you do nowadays in the modern world is with a computer, whether that be your phone or with like an actual computer. So every time you interact with your phone, something behind the scenes happens to change it. So let's say you aim down sights in Call of Duty. Something happens when you do that, um, and that's what we're gonna figure out how to do in this course with Eric. How do you what happens really when you click? Is it right click to aim down sights?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What really happens when you aim down sights in Call of Duty? So there's your computer. So let's we'll make a circle. This is a mouse.
Okay. Okay.
This is the mouse. So your mouse is attached to the computer, right?
Yep.
So you're like shit, an enemy. So I'm gonna real quick like press right click. So then that creates like a signal. It just tells your computer that oh shit, this thing happened. So that goes into your computer. And then all this magic happens in your computer. So let's say you have a this is your monitor. So
Okay.
there's your monitor. And then your computer is going to send a signal. Oh wait, we gotta make sure this is connected. So your computer is also connected. Fuck. There you go. That's connected. And so now your computer is gonna send a signal from whatever it just did. It's gonna give your monitor something, and then your monitor is gonna aim down sights. That's your scope right there. That's like a ACOG scope. So does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense to me.
Okay, okay. So what happens in here, because we're gonna black box it, is what you would call a program. So like any um, so like any person, like all people speak a language, either it's English, Spanish, Dutch, Chinese, whatever. Um, when you say something to them, they completely understand. So you can imagine there's a person here. So imagine that's you and me. So right now, when I say the word circle, you imagine a circle. That's me saying circle to you.
Okay.
Does
Sure.
that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But What if I were to say circle in Spanish and you don't speak Spanish?
Then I
Something
wouldn't know it.
something
Yeah.
would happen. Something would happen. Fortunately, computers, we need a way of talking to them and doing stuff. So, a computer is like a really, really smart tool. You can calculate all sorts of stuff. So, like right now in my class, I'm creating a program that takes a bunch of images, and depending on what image you put in, it'll tell you if it's male or female. So that's machine learning. That's a type of computer science
Huh.
um, learning. There you go. That says learning. Um, does so like okay. So let's go back into our little code thing.
Sure.
And so your computer, you can tell it to do all sorts of stuff. So let's tell it to give me 5 stocks to make me rich. So we're gonna try to tell the computer to do that. And so now I click run. What happens? It fucking this red text is really scary. It basically doesn't know what I'm saying because we need to speak to it. We can't speak to it in English. We have to speak to it in a particular language. So one language that you can talk to it in is Python. Oh shit. Let me zoom in real quick actually. Oh fuck. Oh my god. Every time I zoom in, it changes scenes on OBS. So yeah, you see that. It says Python. I fucked
So
that
is it
up.
supposed to be spelled like that?
Oh, I spelled it wrong. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Yo, I just fucked everything up. Well, let me refresh. I fucked up everything.
What do you mean?
I tried to zoom in and it broke. Uh, what did I do?
Oh, wait,
Oh, it froze. I think I
the
broke it.
whiteboard?
Dude, I deadass broke it. I broke it.
Wait, is the whiteboard's broken? Is that what you mean, or
No,
the
the code
code?
interview. Don't worry, I
Oh,
fixed it. Doesn't exist. All right. Well, I'll just come in real quick.
I can't see anything that's on the whiteboard anymore. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you might have zoomed out. That's okay. We don't really need it anymore.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm back. So you can see the
Okay.
Python code. I spelled
Yeah,
that wrong.
yeah, yeah.
So we can't just tell it to give me stocks because that's the answer we want. Usually you're going to find that depending on what you ask your computer to do, it's going to take a lot, it's going to be a lot more complicated. So like the problem I was talking about with determining what a picture is, between if it's male or female, that's going to take a lot of coding and math. But you and I, we're gonna do the simplest thing, and that is make it add two numbers.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So first things first. You could do this. You could just say 1 plus 1, but actually, yeah, let's do 1 plus 1. So, what do you think will happen if I run that?
Will it give you another error? Probably.
Nope. So it did it, but now we can't see the answer, right? The computer did this. It's just not there. So actually, here we'll do some cool computer theory. We'll go we'll go back to the whiteboard real quick.
Okay.
All right, all right. So you've built your computer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So this right here, this is your
Hold on.
CPU.
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure where anything is on this board anymore.
Oh shit. Here, I'll invite you back.
Oh, wait, I see this very.
You can zoom out with
I
the
see
stuff on
this
the right.
like transparent lining. Is that? But it doesn't. Oh, I'm drawing transparent lining. What is going on?
Wait, are you in here? I don't even see you.
I'm gonna X out of it and rejoin it. I don't know what I did.
I wonder if anyone's interacting in chat. Oh, John is. What
What's he
happens if you
saying?
say circle, Zach? What if we say square? John's participating in our.
Why can't I see? Are you drawing? I can't see anything
Oh, if you
on this
scroll
board.
up, I'm like above like the people, if you can see them.
Above the people.
Wait, here, share your screen with me. I can try to.
Okay, sure. So I'll put it to 100%, but I can't.
Oh, what the fuck?
Zoom out. Like
Oh wait,
I'm
do I
not
have to
quite
like?
sure where everything. It doesn't even look like it's
Oh,
doing
click the
anything.
eyeball.
Eyeball.
Yeah, you see that green shit?
Yeah. What is that?
I think
Oh.
that's me.
Oh. Does that mean I have to?
I think so.
Wait.
I'm
Does that mean
lost.
my square? This square that's getting bigger and smaller is where I'm looking. See that
Yeah,
right here?
yeah, yeah. It is.
How do I get over there?
Let me see. Um, you know what? We'll just make a new board.
Okay.
Let's pick a new board.
Wait. Hold
Create
on. I
new
think
board.
I'm.
Here, I'll invite you.
You're gonna be mad if I figure this out in like 2 seconds.
I don't know. I'll have. It's still open, but
Oh no, this squiggly stuff is my,
All
or that green stuff is me making transparent. Okay, yeah, screw this.
right, there you go. I invited you.
Sweet.
All right. Oh shit. Can you see that line I just fucked
Yes,
up?
I saw you just draw a line.
All right. So you built a computer and you had to choose a CPU, right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So there's your CPU. You also had to pick out a hard drive. Hopefully you didn't make the mistake I did and you got an SSD. So there's an S. Shit. You see that?
Yep.
So there's your SSD, your CPU. You know what? We will put a graphics card for the sake of a graphics card.
Okay.
Wait, what graphics card do you have?
I have a Radeon 7.
Like that? Is that how you spell it? I have no idea.
Yes.
Cool, cool. And then you have some RAM. So this is like a really high level overview of what's going to go on. And
Okay.
then obviously you got your, obviously you're gamers. You got a mechanical keyboard.
True.
Okay, so that's what a computer looks like.
Of course.
Obviously they're all attached together. We don't need to know how that was made or what it does. We just know that these are the core parts of a computer. So, all right. So in here, you just wrote a program that does this 1 + 1. So that's saved in here. We'll call that A. So
Okay.
we'll call this action A. So A equals this, right? So
Mhm.
now you're like, okay, well that's on that like web browser thing. This is not actually on your computer. I'll explain what that is. But
Sure.
you say, okay, I'm going to say computer execute A. So what we did to do that was just press play. So you put in that action, and so your computer is going to be like, okay, grab A. So your CPU will real quick grab A, and it's going to bring it back into itself, and it's going to do a bunch of magic. You don't need to know what's going on. Just know that it knows what to do. And it's going to
Okay.
add 1 + 1. And so now it has the answer, which we know is 2. Print A. And hopefully that'll work. Look, now we see 2.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep.
All right, cool. So anytime you want to like see an answer from something, you just print it and it'll show up in this like hacker-like terminal thing. So
Okay.
this is not actually on your computer. Um, right now we're in a virtual computer. So somewhere probably in like Arizona is a random server, and you and I are just like interacting with it, and it's gonna give us the answer. I didn't want to make today about installing all this shit because it can break, and that's kind of annoying. But
Okay, okay.
we'll install it later. So yeah, that is the simplest action you can do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna we're gonna do some math.
Oh boy.
All right, so right here. All right, actually, I'll do this right now. So if I did this, notice that if I run that, it ignores that. So if you want to like label stuff and be like, it's obvious what this does, but you can write hashtag this adds 1 and 1 if you really need that. But you can
Oh, it's like a note.
basically, yeah, if you want to make notes, so you can call this episode 1 coding with Eric. So like that's important because as your code gets really complicated, because it will, you're definitely gonna need that.
Helps. Okay, that makes sense. Seeing what you're looking at.
So I got you. So we're gonna do a little exercise. Um, Now you don't know yet how to do this, but I think you'll be able to figure it out. So what if we want to subtract 1 from 1? We'll say divide 1 and 1. I mean, you could pick whatever numbers you want.
Okay.
Multiply. And then display all answers. Fuck.
Close enough.
Whatever. Yeah, my keyboard's all fucked up. So you could probably figure that out. I'll let you do that. It's your
Okay.
first program you will write. You just gotta complete them.
Okay.
I
And
believe.
that does do I need spaces in between all of them like you do? Is that how? Or is that just
I don't think so.
okay?
If you do, it'll
Well,
either give you an answer you don't expect, or it'll blow up.
ooh, what's this two? Does that multiply for a keyboard or what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then does that work? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Capital.
There you go.
Ah. Oh. Oh, I have to click run. I guess probably run.
Okay. So let's look at the error and see what it said. Um, it says BCD is not defined.
Oh.
So what that means is there's nothing that indicates that. So if you wanted to print them all, I think if you want to print them all in the same line, I could be wrong. Let's see if that works. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So if you want to do that, you got to separate them with commas. Um, we'll get into why that is. There's a reason behind that. So
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're trying to do right now is just introduce all these concepts you're going to do all the time. It's different if, let's say, if we're going to code in Java or C sharp, um, all code is different. So actually, I can try to pull up an example.
Does it help to know like one? Does that like give you
Yeah.
an advantage? Okay.
So I'm going to pull up an example just for shits and giggles.
Sure.
Because I took a class on this and it was the worst. Let's see if I can get it. Sure. You know what? I'll just pull up. Here we go. I think I can add an image into the whiteboard. Sure, that works. Okay. Nothing to paste. That's rude. Copy image. Wow. Okay. Whatever. I'll just copy it into the chat. Everyone can see it though. Okay, so if you look at this image, this is a completely different looking program. The comments
Oh yeah.
say what it does, but you can see that it's really complicated. So this is machine code. So this is what your CPU knows what to do, and then that you don't need to know what any of that really does,
Okay.
but all of those codes look something like this. So it looks kind of like the Matrix. So your computer will. So basically, here's the tier. So if we go back to the whiteboard, so we start with
Okay.
on the very top is Python, right? And then that magically gets turned into MIPS, which is that weird looking stuff, or some version of MIPS, and then that turns into binary, which is like the Matrix.
Okay. Okay.
So you can see they get complicated. I doubt you don't want to go into MIPS. It's stupid. Just ignore it. So like right now, we're doing a thing called black boxing. So it's a black box. We just ignore all the details in the middle, and you just do it. So you know that when you do 1 + 1, all this extra shit is gonna happen, but you're just gonna ignore it because like it'd be too complicated if you like thought about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, so Python's really easy for like learning this stuff just because it's simple. So if we were in Java to do that, this is how you would print something. Something like that. So that would print all of them in Java. And then you'd have to
Okay.
do weird semicolons. But just focus on Python for now.
Sure.
Cool. How about okay, so I guess we can talk about decimals or something. So there's a bunch of types of things in Python. So a type is like fuck, what's an analogy? So like a food, so everything in the universe is a thing, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But like a taco is a food, and a computer and like a MacBook is a computer. So
Mhm.
everything has like a way to describe it. So one way we can figure out, let's assume someone gave us some crazy ass long line of code, and we want to figure out what A is. So if you were to put type A, what do you think this would say?
Oh man. Would it print out the whole algorithm and the answer?
Kinda. We'll run it real quick. So it says class int. So it's basically saying that A is an integer or a number.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do another one. Ready? So we'll say this is name. So I'm gonna print name. Actually, we'll make it a little strange. Okay. Actually, that might blow up, but what do you think that'll that'll do? Like, what do you think the class? So if notice how it says class int, what do you think it's going to say this
Yeah.
time for name?
Oh, would it be something like class like misc maybe, or like would it be able to identify my name? Can it do that?
Let's find out.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't blow up. So it says class str. So this is a string. Any like words you put is a string.
Okay.
So I think okay. So we'll say t equals false. Oh, it's capital F, false. T type T. Okay. So this one's a little different. What do you think this one will do?
Oh. Um. I have no clue.
That's fine. See, this is a good thing though. Sometimes, like, someone's gonna give you some whack ass code. You could be like, I have no idea what this does. Rather than guessing, you could just click run and it'll say what it does.
Okay.
So like, class bool. So we're boolean now. So this is called a boolean. So there are only two types of booleans. What do you think the other? Well, only two versions of a boolean. What do you think the other
I'm gonna
boolean
guess
is?
true.
Yes, sir. I think that's right. I could be wrong. Yeah, true. Cool, cool, cool. So now I've introduced a couple of types. We have Boolean, string, uh, integer, uh, yeah. Yep, so that's the three types I've introduced so far. Um,
Okay.
Now I'm going to give you an exercise. It's going to look pretty fucking scary. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay, word.
This is like a good way to black box, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll say okay. I was trying to make some funny magic or lore, but I couldn't do it. All right. So someone gave you this problem. They're like, "Eric, shit, my code doesn't work. I'm trying to get this to print my name, and your name, remember, is defined up here." So you run it.
Okay.
Shit, nothing happens. So I'm gonna let you figure out this block to try to make it work.
Okay. If guess.
So you can do whatever you want to try to make it work, but you have to leave the if in the print. But
I have to.
you can change up whatever's around it. So
Okay.
26 to 30 is where you can do stuff to.
Okay. Yes. Oh, but it needs to be false? No.
So basically, so the if statement, everything's correct in there, but there's just one thing you need to change that will make it work.
Okay. And that's for the if statement specifically?
So that, well, you can change it if you want. We haven't covered that, but if you need a hint, I'll give you a hint.
Okay, hold on, let me see if I can. It's all based on what we've done so far, right? So I should be able to.
Essentially, there's a new concept that I just introduced, but that's
Okay.
just for the sake of, you know, introducing it.
Okay. Oh, what did I do?
Here, I'll add a hint.
Okay.
So if you run that again, see what happens. Same thing happens.
Oh.
You can also take away or change things too if you want.
Okay. Do I need to for this?
Um, I'll give you a hint. The only thing you need to change is line 27.
Oh.
Everything else is like works.
So what do I want this to say?
You want
How,
it to print your name. Underneath where it says cheer. I think fuck all this shit's confusing. So we don't want any of these to print anymore. So we're just gonna get rid of them.
oh, okay.
So now the only thing that should show up is just Eric.
Okay, so if yes equals
It blew up.
oh duh. Well, maybe not duh, but okay. Okay. Do I need guess in there? What does guess mean, I guess?
Okay, so you're basically there. Um,
Okay.
it's probably because I haven't taught you how to use this yet, but here
Maybe.
we'll get rid of this for a sec. And now if we run it, it now prints Eric. So do you see what that block of code does? 29 to 30.
So does 29 mean like basically do the same thing as it like allows the print of my name to come up? Is that what it does?
Yep.
Okay.
So okay, I'll write another one down here. Okay, so we have okay, so this one. What do you think will happen with this one? It looks a little more scary than the last one, but
Will it not show me the answer if I
let's
run
see.
it?
Go ahead and run it.
Here.
So it printed 1, which means it allowed it to go here.
So it didn't do the top formula above this
Oh,
bottom one here?
so what happened is, okay, so let's go Yeah, let's go to the whiteboard real quick.
Okay.
The way I view if statements. So if statements are a way of doing things. So let's say you have something you want to run only when a certain thing happens. So I view it as like a pipe. A pipe. And the pipe has water. So let's say for some godforsaken reason, you and I live in a house where only one of us can take a shower at a time. So we're in a house like so. Um, like that. So now,
Okay.
when you take a shower, so this is Eric, you're taking a shower. When you take a shower, something happens in the pipes and it blocks water from going to me. So it does that. It goes that way. So you can, so that's the way I view if statements. So sometimes you want something to happen, sometimes you don't. So fuck, let me think of a Call of Duty example.
So it's like priority. Like what's happening is
Yeah.
one of the if something took priority over the if or something like that. Is that what it means?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So like in Call of Duty, imagine that we're doing okay, here we go. Yeah. So last night you and I we were doing a tournament. Was that yesterday or Thursday?
Yeah, 2 days ago, sure.
Yeah. So we compete in a match and we win. And so the code would say, okay, so if you win, you get to move on. So this team gets to move on. But if we lost, it would say, okay, so if you lost, you don't get to move on to the next round. So that's like one way of thinking of it.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll go back.
Like conditional priority,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of. Okay.
So we can actually write that right here. So let me we're gonna get rid of all of this. Oh, they do not let me do that. That's very sad.
You need to buy the premium version for that, probably.
Oh, fuck, dude, they suck. I guess. Well, this is like for interviews. So if you're going for a job, they'll like make you code shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But this
Oh.
is the only software. There's no like. Who's texting me? Hold up. Oh, it's random people. Okay, okay. So we won. So the condition that says at the end of the match, did you win? Did we win? We'll say we won. So if win, print next match. So if we won, we're gonna print. It's gonna let us do the next match or whatever. Otherwise, so you'd say else print back to lobby or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's gonna do exactly what you expect. Oh, I guess you can't use those for some reason.
Which part can't you use? Oh,
Oh,
next
shit.
match in lobby, or
I named it wrong. So it says next match. I guess you can't use question marks in your naming when you name a variable. So, oh yeah, this is called a variable, by the way. This part
okay.
right here. So anytime you could just do this. You could just do that.
Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense.
But like then you have no control. So like let's say something happens. So something happens. And we win actually turns into false. And we lose. So we put back win. So we lost. And now we go back to lobby.
Oh.
We're fucking depressed. So do you see how if and else statements work?
So if is positive, else is negative. So is that how it works? Like else is false?
So what you could do instead, so if you wanted to check, so if maybe for some reason, if you lose, we go to the next match, like you hacked them, and you're like, all right, we got this. You could say false. So if you run that, it's going to say next match. So else is whatever if is not. So any other case that happens, we can go, yeah. So anything that doesn't show up. So, fuck. So when win is true, fuck, let's go back. I'm like, okay, so when win is true, so else is going to be whatever win is not. So actually, we're going to do it a different way. So win is 1. So if win equals 1, that means we'll go to next match.
Okay.
Okay? So what happens if win is 2? It's going to run to the else. So
Okay.
3.
Okay, this makes sense now. Okay.
But what if we want to create a loser's bracket? Okay?
Okay.
So you write elif, that's how you say that. Elif win equals 2. So on the case that it's 2, like that. Okay. So now we're 2. Loser's bracket. And so now
Okay.
let's say,
If you
I
get
don't know, we get a
be back to
10.
lobby.
If we get a 10, we'll go back to lobby for some reason.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense, yes.
Cool. So sometimes it's helpful just to like randomly put stuff in. The hard part is like just like learning the syntax for now. So if you need to learn, let me pull it up real quick. So let's say you need to learn what things do. You can always go here. So if you go here, you can learn every command that Python has if you wanted to. And sometimes you can just Google, like, how do I, like, you have a problem, you're like, all right, how do I remove, I don't know, how do I create this number or something? I have no idea. I can't come up with problems. You could just Google it, and probably someone has the answer on like Stack Overflow or something.
Stack Overflow.
Yeah. So like, actually, you know what we could do? So if we copy and paste like syntax error, that like red shit,
Yeah.
and then we paste it to our browser, the first thing that's going to come up is probably you could see Stack Overflow. So someone asked, I don't know what this error means for my program. What do I do? And someone will answer you.
So
Or
you only
someone will
paste
have
syntax error, invalid syntax. That's what you copy in.
I mean, you could copy the entire error, and someone will tell you, like some related
Okay.
answer will show up. So that's
Okay.
that's like a really important part of coding. Is just like, how do I fix this error? Like if I don't know how, you just pretty much just Google it. Most of the time, you'll be able to find an answer on how to fix it, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, so this is called control or version or control something, flow control or something like that. So you could think of like the water. So if you think if we start the top here, the water is going to flow all the way down top to bottom. It's going to execute in order. Eventually it's going to get in here, and we're going to say, all right, water, go this way, and this way. Some people think of it as a tree, like an upside down tree. You'll see that a lot.
Upside down. Oh. Okay. I guess.
So we go back into the whiteboard, like if, elif, else, like that. Eventually they all do something, but they all end up back. So it's just like it's, if you think of it like roads, I guess, too. They all go to the same place. Just the end.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, those are really important. You will most certainly always use these. Um, Variables you'll always use. So now I think I'll introduce some cool stuff. So
Yeah.
we run Call of Duty, and somehow Call of Duty continues to do things throughout the entire time that we're on it until we press quit. I'm going to show you basically what that is. It's called a while loop. Let's say, so this is a while loop. While a is less than 10. Print a. A plus equals. So I'm adding two new concepts.
Okay.
So I hope this doesn't break. I've fucked up before. There you go. See? We printed out 0 through 9. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
So it was executing everything less than 10.
Yep. So once
Okay.
A becomes 10, it's going to stop. If we wanted it to stop when it's less than or when it's equal to 10. So if we wanted to print 10, you could do that.
Okay.
So now we get 10. Yeah.
So is this where that commands for Python comes in to like know where to put equal signs and all that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's a while loop. There's an easier way to do that actually. So we can simplify this. So you notice how we have a bunch of shit. So we can condense this. Here, I'll keep it as.
So when things come up as purple, does that mean it's a recognized command in Python? Or what is it? Or is that just random?
Yeah. So this has to do with this like whole editor. There's a bunch out there. So I have like Sublime. It'll depending on how you configure it, it'll like light up certain things. So I think like if I write, I guess def comes purple. But yeah, it'll just like light up certain things. So I guess
So
like
green is string then.
yeah, green is
Orange
string,
is integer. Okay. This kind of makes.
but it'll be different on like everything.
Okay.
So this is a much cleaner way if you're interested. You don't always have to do it this way. So print a. Oops. So this is pretty much equivalent to all this. You can see we condensed it by 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one was 4, so we half the lines of code. And so that one does the same thing. So these two literally mean the same thing. These are just two ways of doing things multiple times. So if you and I, let's say for some godforsaken reason, someone was like, all right, I need you to do this many times. Now we could, they're like, you need to do this 10 times. Now we could just do it like this.
I'm assuming there's an easier way coming up.
Yep. Or we could just, pop it in here like that. And so obviously you're not going to see anything, but there you go. If you wanted to do that 10 times. It just makes it easier for you. So sometimes that's useful because sometimes you're going to have to do things on like this many fucking things. That's when you get into the really cool shit. So sometimes you have to do it on that many things. So that's why like you would want to use these. It's just cleaner, it's quick, all that stuff.
And so if you
Um,
did that and then added the 1 plus 1, it would do it, however many zeros that was.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's say we want to go to like that. So now I'm going to change this. This might actually I won't do it that big. Sometimes like shit breaks.
Holy, that was like a billion.
So I changed it. So now it's no longer a equals 1 plus 1. It's now a plus equals 1 plus 1. Let's define a equals 0 real quick.
Oh, okay.
So rather than saying, so what we could do instead of this actually is just say a equals a plus 1 plus 1. And that looks disgusting. Or we could just do that. So those two mean the same thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then at the end, we're like, all right, what's a? Print a. Whatever number that is. 200,000.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you would see why you would have a while loop in like Call of Duty. You'd be like, all right, while the person has not pressed quit to desktop, keep running the game.
Okay.
Now I don't think they actually do that. It might be a little different, but that's basically what they do.
Okay.
So yeah, man, I encourage you while you play Call of Duty to try to figure out like what concepts we covered today, what's in Call of Duty. So you open your gun and it says AK-47. Well, that's a string, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where we collected $40,000 in plunder. Now on the ticker it says $40,000. That's like an integer right there.
Okay.
If my health goes to 0, I die. Which concept? Can you like comment which concept that was in this area? Like, I don't know. Do one
Oh,
of
that would
these.
be um do you want me to just you just want like a note?
Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere.
okay. If that would be if die uh print something kind of like that, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you'll learn syntax as you go. It takes a shit ton of practice to like really nail it. I've been like doing this for probably like 6 years or something. So like
Oh jeez.
you just like know. But sometimes like I forget because when you're switching between like there are 3 languages in like a month, you'll have to look up stuff to remember
Oh,
because it's always different. But yeah, the good thing is to like build up the intuition of say, well, I want an if statement here. And you can just look up, how do you do a Python if statement or something.
okay.
So there's like ways to like figure it out as you go. Um, yeah, we'll do some cool stuff. I guess like that's your homework. Just like think about as you play your game, like what might be under the hood.
Okay.
Um, Tomorrow we're going to talk about something called a class. And yes,
And that's
it has to do with your weapons class. We'll use
oh.
that as the example. um, I like to use for classes. I like to do whatever it's called, fucking video game examples.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. It's like pretty comparable. It sounds like I don't actually know.
Oh, okay. One more thing. All right.
Okay, sure.
This is a cool one. This will be the last concept. So you
Sure.
see lines 60, 61 to 63.
Mhm.
So if we wanted to use that again, we would have to like copy and paste it, right? But that's like annoying. So what if I'm like, okay, you keep doing that, but this time I want to add, or yeah, this time I want to add 2 or something. So we'll say, okay, definition. We're gonna reuse this code. So definition, we'll call it add shit. So we're gonna pass in. We'll say R for range. So how far do we want to do that? Then B for add, or we'll just pass in B and C. You'll see why I did that in a second. So we copy and paste this like this. So you've noticed every time you want to write these, you need to do indentation. You can see that based on the lines too. These like weird lines.
Thread kinda.
Yep. So we're specifying our range, so that's R. So that's B and C. So now we can add shit. Add shit. We're gonna go up to 100. I want to add 5 to it and 6. And then of course we can define that as S equals that print S. So it's all bundled up. So let's say I want to do it again, but this time I want to see what happens when I do 7 and I don't know, 63.
Okay.
So now we have 2 ways of doing that. So now if I run that, we get those 2 numbers, right? So instead of like copying and pasting lines 68 to 70 and like changing stuff and doing it a bunch of times, I just wrote it once and I changed just what we passed in. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, so when we give like B plus C, like what does that
Okay.
do?
So B corresponds, so for this one, for example 80, B corresponds to 5, C corresponds to 6. So what happens is you put those in here. Oh, and C corresponds to R corresponds to 100. So when you put those in, all these variables are going to be replaced. So it's like they'll be replaced with whatever you chose. And then it'll run this program. So you can imagine that C disappears and it turns into 6. And B disappears and it turns into 5. R, because we passed in 100, turns into 100.
So def means define, and then add shit is like the formula. Then every time you put it add shit, then in that order, it's gonna replace those variables and do it.
Yeah.
The code here. Okay, I get it.
So if you want to make, okay, so here's print, right? So print test or something. If we want to make one of these, we can. You can call it whatever you want. You just got to put def and then whatever you want to name it. So def, like what if we want a new print, right? And then we pass in another S or something. But this time it prints like this, and then it prints S. So we essentially just create a new print. So new print, test. And you're going to see there's 2 different versions. There was this one and then this one. Print. So now.
Oh.
Yep. So if you wanted to, you can literally create whatever you want. So that's really cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, this makes sense.
So you'd see how it's important to use those too. Some kids. So this is bad practice. The way you and I just wrote shit. You don't want that. You want to have like things clearly defined, so people know what they do in case you give it to them, or so at least you know what you do. Because you could be working on a project for like a month and come back and be like, I have no idea what any of this does. But then, like, if you clearly define it and you put a nice bow on it, like 74 to 78, you yeah, you just have.
It's easier to read. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Right? So
Right on.
we've built on other stuff. So if you want, you can make a text-based adventure if you want. Fuck, I forgot how to do
I was
inputs.
just thinking about that. I was like, is this how those text-based things are done? If go to the woods, you meet demon trying to kill you.
Yeah. I kind of forgot how to do it, so let me grab it real quick. So what I did
Okay.
right now was I Googled Python input. And so I guess this is how you do inputs. We'll use our new print. Yeah, so if I do that, did it, okay, fuck, it doesn't like, what? Okay, so we got an error. I'm not really sure what it means. I guess it doesn't like it in this, but if I were to put in penis or something, penis is not defined. All right, well, I did that wrong. uh, we'll enter name, something like that. Enter name, Zach. Whatever, I think it's this, to be honest. But yeah, okay. So I guess if you want, you could make yourself a text-based adventure. It's kind of fun.
I'll try to do that.
So like, you would use a shit ton of if statements. You would use this input thing. You might want to investigate how that works because I obviously did it wrong because I never do that.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
Now you have to install Python, and
Okay.
it's very easy. It's as simple as downloading it, running it. But sometimes it breaks, so that's why I didn't want to do it now. But I'm sure you can figure it out. Just like look up how to install Python, and then
Python.org. Assuming.
like if you want a cool text editor like this on your computer, I use Sublime. There's also Jupyter Notebook, but you don't want to use that for now. That's for like something else.
Okay, I'm gonna download the Sublime one.
Yep, it's pretty
Sublime
cool.
text.
Yeah, it's free. It'll
Okay.
like spam you with
Donating.
Oh, wait a minute. Fuck. Okay, so yeah, there's a way you're gonna have to run it if you use Sublime.
Hold on, I gotta. I'll be like right back.
German.
What's up, Zach?
Oh, hey, John. You enjoying our tutorial?
I'm like half listening. I'm working in Excel with my data right now for research.
Oh, dude, teaching's so hard. Like, I'm struggling. I skipped class.
Dude, I was up. I was up at 3 in the morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I stayed up until my 8 a.m. and then fell asleep trying to get up for my 11 a.m. and I slept through that too. So like